wanted something I had no right to want. There was a moment, one specific afternoon, in a city I don't need to name, when I understood exactly how it happens, not as a theory, as a feeling. Standing in a doorway, knowing what was on the other side, knowing what it would cost, I turned around. But I want to be honest with you. What I remember most clearly is not the turning around. We don't talk about this, not really. We talk about the wreckage, the marriages that ended, the families that split, the people who lost everything to something they couldn't explain afterward. We talk about those stories as if they happened to a different kind of person. Someone weaker, someone less careful, someone who didn't know better. But I think most of us, if we're being honest in the dark, know that it's not about knowing better. I was 42 years old. I had built what most people would call a good life, not a perfect life. I don't think I ever believed in perfect, but a solid one. A life with weight to it, with people in it who depended on me and whom I loved, genuinely loved, in the way that you love things you have chosen and kept choosing over many years. And I was also, without quite knowing how to say it, a little absent from it, not unhappy, just slightly less than present. The way a song can be playing in a room and you realize at some point that you stopped actually hearing it a long time ago. That's not an excuse. I'm not offering it as one. I'm offering it because I think it's true, and because I think a lot of people are living inside that exact feeling right now, and nobody is saying it out loud. Her name doesn't matter. What matters is the conversation. It was one of those conversations that starts about something practical and becomes, without either person planning it, about something else entirely. About being seen. About the particular loneliness of living alongside someone and still feeling somehow alone. I drove home that evening and I sat in the car outside my house for longer than I should have. The engine off, the street quiet. The window of my house lit up from inside, warm, familiar, everything I had chosen. And I just sat there. Not thinking about her exactly, thinking about the feeling. About what it meant that something so clear, so undeniable, could arrive in the middle of a life that was supposed to be complete. I wasn't a man who lacked things. I had built carefully. I had chosen well, or so I believed. And yet, there was a wanting in me that had nothing to do with her specifically. She had just been the moment when I noticed it. Like a crack in a wall you walk past every day, and one afternoon the light hits it differently, and you see it has been there for years. I sat in that car for a long time, not because I was deciding anything, because I already knew what I was going to do. I was going to go inside. I was going to have dinner with my family. I was going to be present and attentive and ask the right questions. What I didn't know yet was what to do with the question the crack had opened. That's the part nobody tells you. Not the dramatic version, the quiet version. The one where nothing happens and everything shifts anyway. There is a law that human beings have been writing down, in one form or another, for as long as we have been writing anything down at all. Don't take what isn't yours. Don't cross that line. Don't let desire become the thing that drives. Most people hear that as a prohibition, as a wall. But I've come to think it was written by people who understood something much more specific. That desire itself is not the problem. That wanting is not the enemy. That the fire, as they understood it, was neutral, neither good nor bad. What mattered was what you did with it, whether you looked at it directly or whether you let it burn in a room you pretended not to enter. There is an old story about a king. He has everything: power, security, the loyalty of a nation. He is standing on the roof of his palace at dusk, and he sees, across the rooftops, a woman, and something moves in him. The story is not really about what happens next, though what happens next is catastrophic. The story is about that moment on the roof, the moment he looks and does not ask himself why he is looking. The moment the wanting arrives and he greets it without curiosity, without the one question that might have changed everything. What is it that I'm actually looking for? He is a king. He can have almost anything. And he is standing on a roof at dusk, looking across the city, hollow in some way he has never examined. The desire is just the surface. Underneath it is something older and quieter and much more important. The story has survived 3,000 years, not because it's a cautionary tale about infidelity. It has survived because anyone who has ever stood in a doorway, metaphorically or literally, and felt that pull, recognizes it. Recognizes themselves in a king on a roof who forgot to ask the real question. I never went back to that city. Not as a moral victory. I want to be clear about that. More as a slow recognition that what I had been feeling wasn't really about her. It was about the song that had stopped playing, about the presence I had slowly, quietly withdrawn from my own life without quite noticing when it happened. That's the thing about desire. When you follow it back far enough, past the object of it, past the story you've been telling yourself about it, you usually find something much simpler. A hunger that was never really about what it appeared to be about. I still walk. I still think about that afternoon sometimes. Not with guilt. Guilt is too easy, too clean. With something more like curiosity. About the version of myself that was standing in that doorway. About what he needed that he didn't know how to ask for directly. What is it that you're actually looking for? Not the surface answer, the one underneath it. The one you've been walking around for years without quite looking at directly. That's the question I carry with me on days like this one. I haven't finished answering it yet.